Welcome to our Depth Dive. Today we are going to be exploring Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and we're gonna go beyond just the story. We're gonna look for those hidden gems, those little details that you might have missed the first time around, maybe even the second or third.
Yeah, it's really interesting how J.K. Rowling starts us off. You know, she could have started us off in the magical world, but she didn't. She started us off in Privet Drive.
Right.
A world so incredibly ordinary, it's almost comical, and it's like she's saying, look, magic is everywhere, even the most, mundane places. You just have to know how to see it.
Yeah, and there are those subtle little hints right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the tawny owl that's perched on the fence, or the cat that seems to disappear and reappear at will. Most people would just kind of brush those things off, but for those who know, it's like,
yeah,
something's about to happen.
Exactly. And then we have the arrival of Dumbledore, right?
Yes.
With his half-moon spectacles and his flowing robes. A stark contrast to the Dursleys and their obsession with normalcy. It's almost as if he embodies magic itself. Stepping into their world to disrupt their carefully constructed reality.
And speaking of the Dursleys, their reaction to magic is, I find it fascinating. It's more than just fear of the unknown. It's like they're desperately clinging to their mundane lives, terrified of anything that might disrupt their very carefully controlled existence.
Yeah, and I think their fear might stem from a need for control, right? They've built their lives around a very rigid set of rules, set of beliefs, and anything that challenges that just completely threatens their entire worldview. It makes you wonder if their rejection of magic is more about a fear of losing control than anything else.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, too, what kind of impact that environment had on Harry growing up. I mean, he's living in a cupboard under the stairs. He's constantly bullied by Dudley, treated like he's just an unwelcome burden. And then on top of all that, he's experiencing these strange events, like his hair growing back overnight or ending up on the school roof and not knowing how he got there.
Absolutely. Those experiences, coupled with the Dursleys' constant, negativity, must have shaped him in really profound ways. It's probably why he's so quick to accept his magical identity. I mean, Hogwarts represents a place where he finally belongs, a place where these strange occurrences aren't seen as something to be feared or ridiculed.
And then the letters start arriving. Owls swooping down with invitations to Hogwarts. I mean, the Dursleys, they go to absurd lengths to stop them. But it's no use. Magic, it seems, can't be contained by mere walls and locks.
Yeah, and there's this beautiful symbolism there. Magic, like truth, has a way of breaking through even the most determined attempts at suppression. And then Hagrid arrives, a giant of a man, who literally smashes down the door to their seaside hut. It's like magic itself is saying, you can't hide from me any longer.
It's such a pivotal moment for Harry. I mean, he learns about his parents, their tragic fate, and his own destiny as a wizard. He's given answers, but also a legacy, a burden of expectation and danger. Imagine being 11 years old and suddenly finding out that your life is a story that's already been written, one with a dark and powerful villain.
Yeah, that's a lot for a child to process. And it raises some interesting questions about fate and free will, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, is Harry truly the master of his own destiny? Or is he simply playing a preordained role in this larger narrative?
And then we have the wonder of Diagon Alley, a hidden world bursting with magical creatures and just curious shops. And they visit Gringotts, the wizarding bank run by goblins, where Harry learns about his inheritance and the mysterious item that Hagrid retrieves from a high-security vault. It's like peeling back the layers of a secret society, uncovering a world that exists alongside our own but remains hidden from view.
It's interesting, to think about the significance of Gringotts. I mean, a bank run by a non-human species, goblins. It suggests that the wizarding world has its own complex social structures, rules and hierarchies that are quite different from the human world. It hints at a much deeper history, one that Harry is only just beginning to understand.
And then it's on to meeting new people. We have Ron with his loyalty and his insecurities that stem from his family's financial struggles, Hermione with her intelligence and rule-following nature, and of course Draco Malfoy, who's already showing signs of prejudice and that thirst for power. It's like Harry's encountering different facets of the wizarding world, different paths he could potentially take.
Yeah, I think each of those characters kind of reflects different aspects of the wizarding world.
Right.
Ron represents those who struggle with financial disadvantage. Hermione, she highlights the importance of knowledge and intellect. And then Malfoy embodies the dangers of elitism and prejudice. They're all shaping Harry's understanding of this new world and the choices that he'll have to make within it.
Then comes the Sorting Hat, placing students into their respective houses. Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw. It's more than just some whimsical tradition, it's a sorting of values, a way of shaping identity within this wizarding world.
It's interesting to consider the qualities that each house embodies, right?
Yeah.
Gryffindor values bravery and chivalry. Slytherin prizes ambition and cunning. Hufflepuff champions loyalty and hard work. And Ravenclaw seeks intelligence and creativity. And these values play out not just within the walls of Hogwarts, but also in the wider wizarding world, shaping alliances and conflicts for generations.
Then we see Harry facing his first challenges, like his flying lesson, where his natural talent on a broomstick earns him a spot on the Gryffindor Quidditch team. It's a moment of triumph, a sense of belonging that he's never really experienced before. But it also highlights the competitiveness that exists within Hogwarts, a rivalry that sometimes goes beyond friendly competition.
Yeah, the Quidditch match isn't just about sport. It's a microcosm of the power dynamics within the wizarding world. You see the houses vying for dominance, you see the pressure to excel, and the lengths that some will go to achieve victory. It's a foreshadowing of the larger conflicts that Harry will face in the future.
And then there's the encounter with the troll.
Oh, yeah.
A moment of true danger that throws Harry, Ron, and Hermione together in this life or death situation. It's a test of courage, quick thinking, and the power of friendship to overcome adversity.
Yeah, the troll incident is a real turning point in their relationship. It cements their bond, it forges this connection that will prove so crucial in the challenges to come. It also reveals their individual strengths, Harry's bravery, Ron's loyalty, and Hermione's quick thinking. Strengths that, when combined, make them a formidable force.
Okay, so we've got Harry settling into life at Hogwarts, experiencing the wonders and challenges of a world where magic is just part of everyday life. And classes like herbology and astronomy, those reveal that magic isn't just about spells and potions. It's intertwined with the natural world, with the stars and the earth.
It's fascinating, isn't it? So like magic in this world isn't about dominating nature, but understanding it, working in harmony with it. There's this sense of respect for the natural order, even as they manipulate it for their own purposes.
Yeah. And amidst all this learning and discovery, Harry gets an invitation for tea with Hagrid. It seems like a harmless enough outing, but it ends up raising more questions than it answers.
Well, do you remember that article that Harry found about the Gringotts break-in, the one that happened on the same day Hagrid took him to his vault?
Oh, right.
Well, Harry brings it up, and Hagrid gets so flustered, it just adds another layer of mystery to this already intriguing situation.
It definitely makes you wonder what was so important about the contents of Vault 713 and how it might be connected to the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, it's clear that Hagrid knows more than he's letting on, but his loyalty to Dumbledore and his protectiveness of Harry prevent him from just revealing the truth. And this secrecy just adds to the suspense, leaving us to piece together the puzzle along with Harry.
And then we have the incident with Neville's Remembrall, that magical object that glows when you've forgotten something. It seems like a small event, but it leads to some pretty significant developments in Harry's journey.
Well, the Remembrall serves as a symbol of memory and the importance of remembering, especially in a world where things are not always what they seem. It's interesting that it's given to Neville, a character often defined by his forgetfulness. Perhaps it's a subtle hint that even those who struggle with memory have the potential to unlock crucial information or play a vital role in the story.
And Malfoy's attempt to take the Remembrall actually leads to Harry's first flying lesson, where his natural talent earns him a place on the Gryffindor Quidditch team. It's another moment of triumph for Harry, a chance to shine in a way he never could at the Dursleys.
It's so fascinating how Harry's skills on a broomstick seem to come so naturally to him. It's almost as if flying represents a kind of freedom, an escape from the confines of his previous life. It's also a reminder that our talents often reveal themselves in the most unexpected ways, in moments of challenge or even danger.
But not everyone is thrilled with Harry's success. Hermione worries about the risks he's taking, highlighting the contrast between their approaches to rules and authority.
And this difference in perspective is a recurring theme throughout the story. Hermione represents a more cautious, rule-bound approach to magic, while Harry often acts on instinct, driven by a sense of justice and a willingness to challenge authority. It sets up a really interesting dynamic between them, and it raises questions about the nature of rules and when it might be necessary to break them.
Right. Then comes Halloween, and with it, the unexpected arrival of a troll in the dungeons. It's a moment of chaos and danger, completely shattering the illusion of safety within Hogwarts.
Yeah, the troll incident is significant for a lot of reasons. It's the first real threat that Harry, Ron, and Hermione face together. It forces them to rely on each other's strengths to survive, and it also leads to an act of selflessness from Hermione, who lies to protect Harry and Ron from punishment. This act of loyalty really solidifies their friendship, laying the foundation for their future adventures.
And let's not forget the incident at the Halloween feast, when Harry sees Snape staring at him and his scar suddenly starts to burn. It's subtle, but it's unsettling, and it foreshadows Snape's complex and often antagonistic relationship with Harry.
Right. It plants that seed of suspicion in Harry's mind, raises questions about Snape's motives and his connection to Voldemort. It also reminds us that appearances can be deceiving and that even those in positions of authority may not be trustworthy.
Luckily, we have Hermione, who takes it upon herself to unravel the mysteries surrounding Nicholas Flamel and the Sorcerer's Stone. Her research skills and intellectual curiosity prove to be really invaluable assets to the trio.
Hermione really embodies the power of knowledge and critical thinking. In a world of magic and wonder, she reminds us that intellect and logic are really essential tools for understanding and navigating the complexities of life. Her dedication to research not only helps them uncover the truth about the stone, but also foreshadows her role as the voice of reason and a master strategist in their future adventures.
And speaking of which, Harry's first Quidditch match against Slytherin, it's a real nail-biter. It's a display of his natural talent, but it also becomes a target for someone who seems intent on harming him.
The sabotage of Harry's broom is a clear indication that someone is working against him, and the suspicion immediately falls on Snape. It raises the stakes, adds a layer of suspense to the story. The Quidditch match becomes more than just a game, it's a battleground where Harry's life is literally on the line.
And despite the danger, Harry manages to catch the snitch, securing a win for Gryffindor. It's a moment of triumph, but it also raises questions about Snape's motives. Is he truly malicious, or is there something else driving his actions?
This ambiguity surrounding Snape's character is one of the most intriguing aspects of the story. It keeps us guessing, forces us to reevaluate his actions and motives as the story unfolds. It also highlights the complex nature of good and evil and the challenges of judging someone's true character.
Then we have Harry's encounter with the Mirror of Arised, which shows him his deepest desire, a reunion with his parents. It's a poignant reminder of what he's lost and the longing that he carries within him.
The Mirror of Arised is such a powerful symbol of desire and the dangers of becoming consumed by it. It reflects our deepest longings, but it also serves as a warning against getting lost in what could have been. Dumbledore's advice to Harry about the mirror is crucial. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.
It's a lesson about living in the present, about focusing on what we can control rather than dwelling on what we cannot change.
Exactly. And it's a lesson that resonates far beyond the world of magic. It's a reminder to all of us to embrace the present moment, to appreciate what we have, and to find joy in the journey, even amidst challenges and setbacks.
And speaking of challenges, Harry, Ron, and Hermione find themselves facing a rather unusual detention in the Forbidden Forest. It's a classic setup for a spooky encounter, and it doesn't disappoint.
The Forbidden Forest represents the unknown, the wildness that exists beyond the controlled environment of Hogwarts. It's a place of both beauty and danger, and it forces Harry, Ron, and Hermione to confront their fears and rely on their instincts.
They stumble upon a wounded unicorn, a creature known for its purity and healing powers. And they learn from Hagrid that something is hunting these creatures, something dark and powerful.
The unicorn incident adds another layer of mystery to the story. It hints at the presence of evil lurking within the forest, and it foreshadows the dangers that Harry will face as he gets closer to uncovering the truth about the Sorcerer's Stone.
And it's during this detention that Harry has his first chilling encounter with Voldemort, or at least a shadowy figure that seems to be sustaining itself by drinking unicorn blood.
This encounter is pivotal for several reasons. It confirms that Voldemort is still alive, even in a weakened form. It also reveals the depths of his cruelty and his willingness to exploit innocent creatures for his own gain. It's a stark reminder of the evil that Harry is up against, and it sets the stage for the final confrontation.
Thankfully for Firenze, a wise centaur intervenes, saving Harry from a terrible fate. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of places, there are forces of good at work.
Yeah, Firenze's appearance highlights the presence of magical creatures who possess ancient wisdom and knowledge. His warnings about the dangers of the forest, especially for Harry, add to the sense of urgency and foreshadow the challenges that lie ahead.
Now, with exams looming and the mystery of the Sorcerer's Stone deepening, Harry, Ron, and Hermione find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. They believe Snape is after the stone and they feel compelled to act.
And their suspicions reach a boiling point when they overhear Snape threatening Quirrell. It's the final piece of the puzzle for them, confirming their belief that Snape is trying to steal the stone for Voldemort.
Armed with this conviction and fueled by a sense of responsibility, they decide to take matters into their own hands, embarking on a dangerous mission to protect the stone.
This decision marks a real turning point in the story. It's a moment of defiance, where they choose to go against authority and rely on their own instincts and abilities to confront a threat that even the adults seem unable or unwilling to address.
Yeah, it's a classic coming-of-age theme. Young people stepping up to face a challenge when the adults around them fail to do so. And it sets the stage for a really thrilling climax, a showdown that will test their courage, their friendship, and their understanding of magic itself. Okay, so we left off with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, making this huge decision to protect the Sorcerer's Stone. They're convinced that they're the only ones who really understand the danger, and they're willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means, breaking the rules.
Yeah, it really shows their courage and how loyal they are to each other. They're ready to risk everything, not for any personal gain or glory, but just to protect something they believe is super important to keeping the whole wizarding world safe.
Right, and going through all those traps, protecting the stone, is like this ultimate test. Each obstacle really pushing them to their limits and revealing their strengths. They face Fluffy, the three-headed dog, using music to put him to sleep. Then they get past that deadly devil's snare, using Hermione's quick thinking and knowledge of herbology.
And it's cool how each challenge is perfectly designed to test their different strengths. Harry's athleticism and bravery are put to the test when he catches that flying key, and Hermione's intelligence, her logic, really shines through when she figures out that potion's riddle.
And then there's that giant game of wizard's chess. Oh, man, that scene is so intense and kind of heartbreaking at the same time. Ron, he realizes he's the only one who can make the move to let Harry win, so he sacrifices himself. He puts his own safety on the line just so the mission can continue.
That moment is so powerful. It shows how deep their friendship really is. Ron's willing to put himself in danger for Harry. That says a lot about his loyalty and how selfless he is. It reminds you that true friendship means making sacrifices sometimes, and that sometimes the bravest acts aren't these big flashy things, but these quiet, selfless moments.
It really is a moment that sticks with you. And even though we know Ron's okay in the end, it doesn't take away from the impact of his choice. So Harry and Hermione, they have to press on, facing that last challenge, this wall of fire that only one of them can go through. It's such a tough decision for Harry, but he knows he can't stop, even if it means leaving Hermione behind.
It really shows how determined he is and how much his sense of responsibility has grown. He knows that everything, the stone, maybe even the entire wizarding world, depends on him now. He's willing to carry that burden, even as it means risking his own life and possibly losing his friends.
And then it's like, whoa, plot twist. He comes face to face with Professor Quirrell. It changes everything we thought we knew. Quirrell, that timid, stuttering defense against the dark arts teacher, he's the one who was working with Voldemort this whole time.
It's such a clever way to surprise us, We're led to believe Snape's the bad guy, but then it turns out to be Quirrell, the last person you'd suspect, who's been hiding this super dark secret. It reminds us that looks can be deceiving, and evil can be hiding right under our noses.
And seeing Voldemort's face on the back of Quirrell's head, that is seriously creepy. It's a messed up image that shows you how Voldemort's power works, like a parasite, He'll use anyone to survive.
Yeah, the image is so disturbing and so symbolic at the same time. It's like Voldemort, being so weak, has to cling to others to exist, draining their life force. It also shows how manipulative he is, using people around him for his own evil plans.
And facing Voldemort all alone, Harry, he finds strength in not giving in to the temptation of power. Instead, he chooses to fight for what really matters. Love, friendship, protecting the people he cares about.
It's like a defining moment for Harry. It shows a strength that goes beyond his magical abilities. He understands that real power isn't about dominating or controlling. It's about compassion, empathy, and standing up for what's right, even when the odds are totally stacked against you.
And then, in this awesome twist, Harry discovers he has something that Voldemort doesn't. The power of love. The love his mother had for him, the sacrifice she made to protect him, it lives on inside of him, like a shield against Voldemort's dark magic.
It's such a beautiful and deep message about how powerful love really is. It's saying that love isn't just some feeling, it's a force, a strong energy that can overcome even the darkest magic. It reminds us that even when we experience loss and pain, love keeps shaping who we are and how we interact with the world.
And so Voldemort is defeated, for now anyway, but the victory comes at a price. Quirrell, he dies and the stone is destroyed, but Harry, he makes it. He wakes up in the hospital wing with his friends by his side.
It's an ending that makes you feel happy and sad at the same time, like a mix of relief and sorrow. There's definitely a sense of loss, but also hope and resilience. It reminds you that even when you win, there can be sacrifices, and fighting against evil is a long, tough journey.
Yeah. But in the end, Harry learns that he doesn't need the Sorcerer's Stone or its promises of living forever to be happy. He already has something way more important. The love of his friends, the loyalty of the people who believe in him, and the bravery to face whatever comes next.
And that's like the most important message of all. Real happiness, the feeling of being complete, it doesn't come from money or magical powers, but from the connections we make with people, the love we share, and the choices we make to fight for what we believe in.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It's a story that never gets old. It's about conquering your fears, finding where you belong in the world, and how love can win against darkness.
It reminds us that magic isn't just about wands and spells. It's in those everyday moments of kindness, courage, and love that we share with each other.
So that wraps up our deep dive into Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. But this is just the beginning. There's a whole magical world waiting to be explored. We'll be back soon to dig into another awesome story.
Yeah, until then, keep those wands ready. And don't forget, the magic's all around you. You just got to know where to look.